Good morning, beautiful people. It is Friday, January 24th, 2020. We got a lot to talk about. Chase Rice, the man who's about to sing the intro you're about to hear in about 45 seconds. He dropped a new album this morning called The Album Part 1, I believe. It's got some heaters on there. Our intro song didn't make it onto the album. So there's a Part 2 coming out. Let's assume it'll be on there. I will be heartbroken and devastated more than The Bachelor was to find out that the girl he was taking on a date to a private concert had dated the man that was doing the private concert. We'll find out if Part 2 comes back the opposite direction. Tiger Woods all the way back. This is a Coco Golf show. Antonio Brown's arrested. We'll break down the NFL with Michael Lombardi. We'll talk T.O. and Donovan McNabb with Brian Westbrook. I mean, this is going to be a good Friday. Feel good Friday, if you will. Evan Foxy, please play some Chase Rice.
It's the perfect occasion for a little vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
You're damn right it is, Chase Rice. Congratulations on your album dropping today. I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana with all the boys. Boston Connor, Gumpy from Canada is still here, hasn't been deported. Nick Morado on the ones and twos. Tone Diggs, Ty Schmidt, Jason McAfee, Zito, Foxy, and Todd McComas, who has not slept. Todd McComas has not slept. Todd McComas is going to drop some true crime podcasts here. Probably in the next couple months. And I think Todd, and this is no joke, Todd has solved 4 cold cases. Todd, is that not a pretty accurate statement, though? It feels like you're upstairs. Literally, he's like in the Social Network when they're coding and they have the headphones.
He's
wired in. He's wired in right now. That's what Todd is doing right now with these cold cases around Indiana. He's going to drop some true crime podcast. I'm excited for you, Todd. If you stay up all night doing something, that means you're probably pretty invested and excited about it. I'm pumped for you, Todd.
Well, I appreciate that. I am excited and invested in it, but also I didn't know that like after 10 p.m. when you try to record here, a train goes by every 4 minutes and picks up on the microphone.
I didn't know that either. By the way, although that does suck for Todd at this particular time, I'm very thankful that they moved the trains to the nighttime to move, by the way, because I got one up by my house that seems to go every 4 minutes, and you can't move a damn place if you have to because of those trains. There's a law. They're only allowed to be in front of you, I guess, for like 2 minutes. You can call the police if they go longer than that.
No way.
Yeah, who are they going to arrest? Who are they going to arrest? The engineer up there in the front? No. That guy doesn't know a damn thing. He just loaded the coal and hopped in that son of a bitch. I don't know. Anyways, good for you, Todd. I'm happy for you. All right. Speaking of crime, Antonio Brown officially turned himself in and was booked this morning, I believe, down in Florida. He showed up, and in Florida, whenever you get booked, by the way, I have been arrested. I understand the process here. You go into this holding area, and then they take you to another area. Then you go to another holding area. I had to go in solitary confinement because I was a special inmate after my public intoxication. So I sat in this glass box with the toilet broken, so it just smelled like poop the entire time. I was staring at other people that had been arrested for God knows what on a Tuesday night they were doing. And then we got a chance to go to court in person, though. So then I didn't go to court, I think, until like 11 or 12 or something like that. I went to court, and it was an entire thing, like you had to do you know that what you were booked for has a max sentence of a year in prison? And I go, a year in jail? I actually said aloud, and a year in jail? Because I thought I was just going to get driven home, by the way. I was a little drunk, a little late night. I thought I was going to get driven home. Instead, I end up in solitary confinement, and then I'm looking at a very respectable, Your Honor, and they're like, do you understand that what you did could be a year in jail? And I'm like, oh. No, I didn't know that. Can I get time to talk to this guy sitting right next to me? A year in jail. So I understand that whole process, and then I was immediately let go, where I learned that some of my money was missing from the night before, and my pants were drenched still, so I had to wear the FUBU pants that I was given in jail out. And then I got outside. My lawyer let me know that we'll go out a back door. The people from the prison will take me out the back door because there's a lot of media out in the front. So I think what he did, though, he said, I'll get the car and then I'll meet you in the back. I think when he walked outside. He said, oh, we're going out the back door. And then he got his car and then he went, because as soon as I go out the back door, there's a bunch of cameras running down the street. They're like, did you shank the punt on this one, Pat? And I had my hood up and I was so embarrassed for my mom and my family and the Colts and also myself, obviously. And then when I started hearing just these ridiculous cliche after ridiculous cliche, I almost turned and was like, you guys, these are terrible questions. Let's not ask, can we ask why I was shirtless at 4 a.m. instead of like, did I shank a punt? Did you mishandle the snap on this one? I'm like, just put me in the car. Then I obviously started crying, called my mom. I apologized. My dad from the lawyer's phone because my phone was broke from water damage. So, I mean, I understand this entire booking and processing thing. Mine was much different than what he's in there for, right? Mine was a public intoxication. He's in there for burglary and battery, I believe, because the story that has come out is that a moving truck moved something to his house. When he got there, he refused to pay the guy, threw rocks at the guy in his truck. The guy leaves. Then the guy came back, I guess, and the story is being alleged that when he came back, Antonio Brown refused to pay again. He and his trainer beat the guy up, I guess, and then he left. And then now this is all happening. His trainer was arrested a couple days ago. What everybody assumes happened is the trainer went in there. They asked him what happened. He said, oh, Antonio did it all. Antonio then was issued a warrant for his arrest. This morning, he turned himself in, and they did the via TV court, so a judge can sit, I don't know, at their house. Is that what happens? I don't know why this happens. I don't know if it's because they have so many people that get arrested on a regular basis. They just try to expedite the process. It's like a drive-through. It's like a drive-through processing. And Antonio Brown was in on a camera. Do we have the video and the sound?
Yep.
And this was him this morning.
I have private counsel present for Mr. Antonio Brown. Counsel, please approach the podium.
Warren Berkeley on behalf of Antonio Brown. Good morning, Judge Buckland. Happy New Year. Eric Schwartz, right on behalf of Antonio Brown as well.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Mr. Brown.
Good morning.
Mr. Brown, you're before the court this morning on count 1, burglary with battery. Count 2, burglary of an unoccupied conveyance, unarmed. Count 3, criminal mischief, $200 under $1,000, first offense. I find probable cause, and I will hear from the parties.
Okay, so 3 counts there, Todd. What happens here? Now, 3 counts. It seems like from the story I was told, and maybe I watch enough cops that I feel like counts just get, I mean, these things just get tacked on quickly. Like 3 counts there, 3 charges for him. He and his lawyer, his private lawyer said these were merely scratches on the guy. That's what this lawyer was saying. I assume this is going to be a ridiculous process. He paid his bond, was released. He's now being tracked, I believe. He has to do drug and alcohol testing and a mental evaluation and some other stuff. I mean, so this is ultimately going to be good for Antonio Brown, especially if he gets some mental help. Sucks for the driver that got rocks thrown in his truck and then, I guess, beat up by Antonio Brown, which, hey, by the way, if he did do that, sorry to that guy, and obviously he shouldn't do that. But this is ultimately, I think, going to be good for Antonio Brown if he has to get mental evaluation tests, drug testing. I assume a lot of this stuff's going to happen. We're going to learn a lot about Antonio Brown, I think, within the next couple of weeks. But am I right, though, with the counts being added on, Todd? Is that how it works? Charges just being added on?
Absolutely. It just looks good on paper. It's a numbers game. They're going to plead it down to 1. Without a doubt.
That's a guy that hasn't slept. It's been true crime.
I did a lot of recording last night.
By the way, Todd has solved 4 murders, and that is why Todd was 21 years state police detective. Then he retired in this to join this content making world. And I think he missed the detecting. And here he is detecting this whole thing. But anytime we have a police or law question, he's like he's a Hall of Famer in Indiana State Police history. So to ask him these types of questions, it's very nice because it does feel like back in the day before we learned more about the way cops operate and all this stuff, when you hear 3 charges, you're like, oh, this guy's screwed. But then it's like, no, they're only doing that strictly because whenever they negotiate a deal, they have to have some things to be able to take off the table. That's literally all they're thinking.
Yeah, no, you nailed that. So it's what it's for. It's for plea bargaining. It's like, oh, we'll take these 2 off. We leave you with 1. We good? Yep, take some classes. Stay off the drugs.
All right, so this is what you literally did. We're going to add on these 4 things that are a little bit ridiculous because we know that we'll just be able to say, yeah, those, you know what, look what we're doing. We're the good people. We're knocking off 4 charges for you. You just got to take this one. Is that okay? It's like, well, those aren't even real charges. But Antonio Brown, this is going to be good. I think this is going to be good for Antonio Brown in the long haul. Now, obviously, It's going to be very difficult to get back into any professional league if he wants to. Let's say he does get his mental health evaluated and they figure out what his problem is and they give him the medicine that kind of balances the things he's got going on in his brain, and he gets back into a full work process and becomes a fully active member of our society again. Will the NFL give him another chance? I'll be intrigued to see. I really will be intrigued to see, because it doesn't look like he's going to get out of shape anytime soon. No. He looked like he was in incredible shape there. Yeah. I don't think he's going to forget how to run a route. I think as he gets older, he could potentially get better because he might become wiser. And if his mind is together, will he become better? Will the NFL give him a chance again? I don't know if they can. Right now, at this given point, I don't think they can.
Will.
But they will, right?
They will.
Because
they've given worse second chances.
Well, they didn't. To their credit, I mean, they did put OJ, I guess, on the all 100.
Yep.
Which, that could have been an easy miss. Like, that could have been an easy leave off the list, and nobody would have said anything. But they put him on there because of what he did on the football. That particular murder. Dave Chappelle. But Antonio Brown, I hope this becomes the point that's like the rock bottom point, because he's forced to go get evaluation. He's forced to go get counsel. He's forced to do this stuff. Hopefully this will turn him around.
Yeah, it's too bad it came to this, but like you said, if he's not going to do it on his own, then forced intervention is probably the only way that he's actually ever going to get help.
I'm intrigued by what he was wearing, too. For those that are listening on radio, it looked like he was wearing like a bulletproof vest or something like that, while everybody else had gym onesies on. He had like a vest on.
They get given those, it's an anti-suicide smock.
Anti-suicide smock.
Yeah, but I respect the thought, but do they like put a helmet on him whenever I don't know how that's the anti-suicide answer, because if his neck is wide open, which the last time somebody committed suicide publicly in jail, that was a famous person. The last two people, I think, famously. Old Epstein.
Mm-hmm.
well. A lot of questions, but we'll just act as if. And then Hernandez, they both hung themselves. In this one, he's having a vest on where I don't know if he can't move his hands, but he just looks a lot different than everybody else.
So I'm reading into it right now. They get a whole entire suicide kit, a pillow, covers, and it's basically you can't rip your shirt and make a noose out of it.
Okay. Oh, so that makes sense. So that's why he has the vest.
That's why he has the vest.
And I learned in the Aaron Hernandez doc that anybody who's arrested that has celebrity status is put into suicide watch because of the drastic life change. That's what they talked about Aaron Hernandez adapting to the jail life being so crazy, because they were like, yeah, this guy was on suicide watch, but it's almost like he was on vacation. And that was a very interesting thing. We got to get to a break. We'll talk about the football. We'll talk probably a little bit more about Antonio Brown with Michael Lombardi, a man who just a week ago he said that we got to send Antonio Brown to Switzerland, which is the place that created psychology, to meet with a team of people. And we never would have guessed he would have got arrested, but I think some people would have guessed he would have got arrested.
It could have ended much worse. I think this was kind of good for him.
Merely scratches. So there's this guy in Philadelphia that I've been hearing about for years personally. Connor was talking about him just a couple weeks ago.
Oh, man, I love this guy.
Connor was just talking about him a couple weeks ago on a broadcasted show for I think like 2.5, 3 minutes, when it was only supposed to be talked about for a minute or something like that.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Give him more press. You know?
A little bit more attention to it.
Help him out.
But this guy, we've been hearing about for years. And we've been telling everybody about how good his diamonds are. And if you've ever been to Philadelphia, you've seen it on billboards, you've heard it on radio. I hate Steven Singer. He's been making it too easy to buy gifts for over 4 decades. I know we just made it through Christmas and New Year's, but Valentine's Day is right around the corner. You're probably thinking, you know what? I'll show her I love her. I'll just get her flowers again. Flowers die and end up in the trash can within a week. Give her a gift that lasts as long as your love. A real 24-karat gold-dipped rose from Steven Singer Jewelers. Picture it, a real long-stem rose preserved and dipped in 24-karat pure gold. This real rose will last forever and comes with a lifetime guarantee. Lifetime guarantee. Shipped for free in a beautiful gift box with your own personalized message of love. These roses won't wilt or die, don't even need water, and will remind her each and every day of your love. If this is your first, Steven Signature Red Rose is a classic and only $59. Go online to IHateStevenSinger.com, click on the roses, and become a hero this Valentine's Day. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price. That was about 2 minutes, that read. We're going to have to speed that one up if we're going to keep reading it. This is 10:15, 15 minutes after the hour. You're listening to Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here in Indianapolis, Indiana. I didn't give you guys enough setup there. Talked about Antonio Brown there for the first 14, 15 minutes. Getting arrested is no fun, by the way. No fun at all. He turned himself in. They did the whole thing. They put a suicide kit on him. That's why he looked like every other inmate in there that was checking in for the processes. I said I can't believe they didn't give him a helmet of some sort. And a YouTube commenter named what?
Mike Bunting.
Mike Bunting. Seems like a fake name. Put together the incredible thing that Antonio Brown refused to wear the helmet due to the helmet thing that happened earlier. Congrats to Mike Bunting. Joining us now is another Mike. Every week he calls in and gives us magical information. He was once a GM in the NFL. He worked for the Patriots for a long time. He's an author. He's a podcast host. He's a live show host. Ladies and gentlemen, in front of the show, Michael Lombardi.
Good morning, Patrick. How are we doing? I mean, he wouldn't wear the helmet, huh? I guess it wasn't the one he wanted the most.
Yeah, Mike Bunting came in with a heater there. I'm going to be honest.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's have you seen? You know what I've been getting a lot of? I've been getting a lot of the MVP Mitch's last season when he was at the Pro Bowl. His throwing competition.
Oh yeah.
I mean, my Twitter has been filled with how he couldn't throw the ball accurately. I've said all along, if he ever went to the county fair, he would never win a stuffed
Are
animal.
you kidding me? Why? MVP Mitch doesn't deserve this right now. I mean, listen, I was very hard on old Mitchell Trubisky as well. One of the biggest regressions I've ever seen a quarterback have was Mitchell Trubisky from that 2-3 QBR to this past year, which just looked like a terrible football player for a lot of football. And he was put in a situation where the team was never going to turn their back on him until 2 minutes left in a one-score game. They bench him, and then he's back in the game. I mean, there was no reason for you to bury him right there, although ESPN and NFL Network have been putting that video out a lot the last couple of days.
I mean, we were only talking about what's happened on Twitter. It was a segue. I apologize.
Did you watch that Pro Bowl Skills Challenge last night, and did you think it was enjoyable?
I don't think it's a Pro Bowl anymore. I think it's just a bunch of guys. Let's all come to Orlando and have fun. I mean, they're letting anybody in the game. No, I did not. I did not. I really don't watch the Pro Bowl. I don't watch much. I watch 76er basketball, unfortunately. But other than that, I don't watch much.
I heard that guy got a jumper this offseason. Good for you. The thought of Ben Simmons, I think his name is. The Pro Bowl, though, back in the day when it was at Hawaii, when I was a kid, right? It was like this. It was a dream come true. They were putting out videos last night. Peyton Manning was running full speed trying to hit a target. I think Donovan McNabb was there as well. I mean, they had that quarterback challenge. Back in the day, it used to be a real thing, That's why it was so desirable for me to want to make a Pro Bowl, because I think my childhood dream was I want to go to this Pro Bowl. What it has become very, very interesting. And I think it all dives into the fact that nobody wants to get injured because they know it's not worth much. It's just the same way as people talk about seniors in college or juniors in college, are they going to sit out a year, as opposed to back in the day where guys would rather tape their bones back together to get back on the field. We live in a very different world, Mr. Lombardi.
No doubt. And look, let's face it. I mean, I don't fault any player who's not in the Final Four in college that if he's coming out in the draft that he doesn't decide to play. I mean, Derek Brown was amazing at Auburn. He did, but for the most part, as an executive, I would never fault that on a player, because you got to take care of yourself moving forward. And, it's great to get the bowl game watch, and it's great to get the bowl game swag, but you got bigger things in front of you, and you don't want to risk that.
I think that's all the analytics coming out, and the more people are learning, it's hey, your body can only take a certain amount of hits. Why are you going to take wasted hits here? Here's the exact amount of money you're going to get if you're drafted here. Here's the amount of money you'll get here. This is how much you can buy with these two different things. I mean, there's just so much information now. It's almost like you have to kind of sort through what matters and what doesn't. Last night they had a precision passing thing. I don't know. You didn't watch it, obviously, but all I thought the entire time was, I wish Aaron Rodgers was in this thing. I wish a couple of the other. I wish there was a real quarterback challenge like there used to be back in the day. Right. I really wish that.
I mean, he's amazing. I mean, I bet he would have won it. He could have probably done it with one eye. I mean, he's unbelievable with the football. I mean, that's the remarkable thing about going out to San Francisco and laying the egg like they did.
Yeah.
Because as good as he is, I mean, it's inexcusable for them to be 1 for 19 in 6 quarters of football against the 49ers on third down. Inexcusable.
You think the 49ers will be able to do that to Patrick Mahomes? The big conversation right now is, will that Chiefs offense that has been dominant whenever they want. They haven't played full 4 quarters in any of their phases. They've only needed to play a couple, and they've dominated teams that are supposed to be dominant. Now they're going against this historically good defense in the 49ers, and everybody's like, defense wins championship is the old adage for a reason. Do you think the Niners do the same thing they did to Aaron Rodgers to the Kansas City Chiefs?
I think they have the elements of a kind of team. I wrote this for The Athletic. Like if you're Mike Mayock and you're Tom Telesco, or if you're John Elway and you're watching Mahomes, you're thinking, oh my God, we're screwed, right? I mean, when you were at Indianapolis and Andrew Luck came into the league, everybody's like, oh shoot, we're in trouble. I mean, this guy's they're going to win 10 conference championship games in a row. Mahomes is the same. You get the same feeling. And I think the 49ers defense, their athleticism and their defensive line, they don't have defensive tackles that are the typical 6'2", 340 tackles. They got these long power forward type tackles in Armstead and Buckner. And they can put pressure on inside, and they can run and catch them. You've got to be able to run. Really, to be honest with you, when the Chiefs offense is in gear, it's like a punt return. Because he starts moving around back there, and everybody, and it like the run he had, it's always the second play in the play that kills you, right? It's not the play that he calls. It's the play breaks down, and then Mahomes takes off and scrambles and moves and throws it for the pass interference call or runs for the touchdown. It's that second play, and that's the one that gets you. And the Niners have enough speed on their defense to eliminate some of those second plays. Not all of them, but some.
Yeah, you think back, I was going through his highlight reel of life, basically, the ones that stuck out. A lot of those plays where he breaks out, especially this last week, he proved that he can run 30-some yards if he has to. Now, the tackling was questionable, but still, to score that touchdown the way he did after a broken play is good. Then he has the scramble, random throw cross body 70 yards down the middle of the field to Tyreke Hill in like the fourth quarter. Like, he has all these plays. He has so many tools. I don't know how you slow it down. It's really hard for me to, because a lot of people I have a lot of respect for with their football knowledge, a lot of respect for, have told me, like, that Niners defense is something different. They're going to be able to stop Patrick Mahomes. And I'm having a very difficult time figuring out how you do that. Like, I like this Niners team a lot. They made Aaron Rodgers, his friend of a show, look amateur. That offense looked very bad for a long time. They've done a lot of incredible things this year. But this Chiefs offense, I feel like it's just different. Like, I feel like we're just watching something different at this point. Not all season they were like this, but at this point, they're just humming whenever they want, Mr. Lombardi.
Yeah, and look, if you stop the play, then Mahomes makes a play within the play. So it's really hard. They do have the speed. And what makes them challenging is they have such great speed on the outside that when he moves around and he throws it to a spot on the field, only Tyreke Hill or Hardeman can get to it. They're so fast, and that's why it's like a punt return. I mean, it's really challenging. I think you've got to – this is old school football. As much as we think we're in the new age of football with their passing game, this is all going to come down to how the 49ers plan their pass rush. This is going to come down to, can they keep Mahomes in the pocket for 4 quarters? Can they keep him from escaping? Can they do what the Patriots did in the conference championship game last year? That first half of how they rushed them, where the tackles, the defensive ends never get past the quarterback. The defensive tackles push the quarterback back. This is going to either be a clinic on defensive line pass rush, or it's going to be a big mistake by the 49ers. That's where the game's going to come down to. It ain't about coverage. It's not about, all due respect to Richard Sherman, it's not about his ability to cover any one of those guys. It's about the defensive front controlling the game, and that's old school football.
You've been in the front office. You've been on the coaching side of things. You've done it all in the NFL. Is that something that they would look at? Like Robert Saleh is looking back at the Patriots last year in the championship game, and they're like, all right, this is going to be our game plan. Is that something that Robert Saleh would put on film in front of these guys and be like, hey, this is what we're trying to do right here. This is the team that had the most success.
I think he has to. I think that's what he's doing. I think the secret weapon in all this is Mike Shanahan. I think Mike Shanahan, Kyle's a brilliant coach. And when I interviewed Kyle when I was in Cleveland 2 weeks before I got fired, we interviewed him for the offensive coordinator's job. And after I left the meeting, I said, we should have just hired him for the head coach. He was that impressive, right? And Mike is obviously just as impressive. And Mike's a really good offensive coach. But what people don't understand about Mike Shanahan is his unique ability to understand defense. This is why Mike's such a great offensive coach. Because the problem with the Packers, when you watch the Packers, when you look at Matt LaFleur, he's running plays to beat the coverage. The great coaches in the NFL run plays to break the rules of the coverage.
Oh.
Right? And Mike Shanahan understands the rules of the coverages. So they break it down. So does Kyle. And what's going to happen is I think Mike is going to spend a lot of time with Robert Saleh and try to coach him on what he needs to do with his front and how he can dictate the passing game with his front. I think he's the secret weapon in all this. I really do. I think he'll be the guy that helps out a lot. And, I think that this is why Kyle is so far ahead. Andy Reid's the same way. The people in the NFL that understand how to attack the rules of coverage and the rules of the defense are way better when you hear coaches talk about cover 3 beaters or cover 4 beaters or cover 6 beaters. Beaters don't work. Attacking them rules works.
Yeah, because you're manipulating their coverage, but
Right.
utilizing their own rules. Yeah, like, hey, if this guy comes here, I'm supposed to stay with him. Somebody's got somebody over the top. Now the offensive coordinators understand that. They're like, okay, this guy has to do this. This guy has to do this, which means this seam is wide open if we want to.
Correct. Absolutely. And that's how great coaches, and that's how they call plays, and that's how they don't run beaters. Because when you run beaters against teams that run like Pete Carroll's cover 3 or Saleh's cover 3, they've seen every beater you could run. They know every play you're going to run against them. They practice the beaters. What you must do is go back to, like, if LaFleur would have watched any of Josh McDaniels' tape of him attacking Pete Carroll, whether it's Super Bowl 49, whether it's a game in Seattle, he puts 500 yards on him every single time because he understands how to attack the rules in Pete's coverages. LaFleur, even though he worked at San Francisco and worked with Shanahan, has no idea how to do that.
That's why that inside information, whenever somebody leaves like a coach leaves and goes to another place, is so important because he can be like, hey, Salah, whenever they do this, we do this. That's just like the rules.
They break the rules. They come in and study the rules. And that's why great offensive coaches understand defense. Bill Walsh said the best thing he ever did in his career was spend a year coaching defensive backs at Cal because he understood how they were teaching the defense. So then it allowed him to attack the defense based on the teachings. That's when you're talking about chess at a higher level.
Well, that's what we did on our special teams.
Right.
That's what we did.
It's the same thing in the kicking game, too.
Yes.
I mean, it all applies to all areas. You had rules in the kicking game. If you understand the rules, you understand how to attack the coverages. If you just attack it based on, this thing or that thing, they'll eat that up because they practiced against it.
For instance, Troy Polamalu was also always supposed to stay to the field side because there's more space on that side for us to run an option. That's just what he was supposed to do. So we caught a fake field goal against him in Pittsburgh. It was 100%er. And for some reason, Troy Polamalu just went ahead and stood on the other side. He hadn't done his entire career and ruined my shining moment in my hometown. We had a beater to their coverage. There was an outlier in Troy Polamalu, which is on every defense. Ed Reed was one of those guys who broke rules. He did whatever he wanted. Troy Polamalu was one of those guys. Bob Sanders was one of those guys. Tyrann Mathieu seems to be one of those guys. Those guys are game changers because even if you have a coverage manipulator, those guys who have like a sixth sense of football are the guys that ruin it all.
Yeah, I mean, they get it. It's like Daniel Sorensen. He knew when Justin Reed was moving back and forth on that fake punt, he knew something was up. He was instinctively smart. And I think, the Texans, if you want to blame them, is they miscalculated that Reed could make Sorensen miss. I mean, it's not a bad play. It was a miscalculation.
Well, I think Reed could have checked out of that at any given time. Every fake he could have checked out of. I think he saw the Caucasian guy following him and said, I got him.
You don't think he's going to catch a lot of crap for that all season?
Oh, man, he's going to have a rough.
They're going to kill him on that all year.
Imagine off-season workouts when they're running sprints. Oh,
yeah.
Reed, you want some white guys to run here?
They'll put a picture of Sorensen's face in his locker. There's no doubt.
It's going to be awesome. Drew Brees, okay? He said it's not a given that he comes back, but if he comes back, it'll be with the Saints. In my eyes, he has to make that decision in the month of February because Sean Payton and them have to figure out by March what the hell they're going to do with Teddy Bridgewater, whether they're going to let him out. Am I wrong or am I right?
You're 1,000% right. It's the same thing with Adam Schefter reported today that Tom Brady has to let the Patriots know by the middle of March. I think he's got to let them know sooner. But, yeah, I mean, you can't plan an offseason. I think that's what really affected the Patriots last year. When Gronk didn't announce that he was retiring, and it cost him to get into the Jared Cook sweepstakes. Not that it was a lot of people involved in that, but yeah, the sooner you can make your offseason plans, the better off it is. And certainly with Drew Brees, because he's going to eat up a ton of cap room. I mean, he's not coming in to play for $5 million. He's going to come in and command a hefty salary, and you've got to work your team around that number.
So 10 days before the season, not great too?
Yeah.
All right. What do you gamble or do you make picks on anything other? Go ahead, Dix.
We were kicking around earlier this morning. Alex Smith is. He said he's going to be back in 2020. Do you see him being a starter
for the Bears, Lombardi?
And
Alex Smith at the Bears.
I could see Alex Smith doing it. I mean, I really could. I think he's certainly, he in the right system. I could see him. That's a great call in Chicago because Matt Nagy knows him. Although I don't think Ryan Pace would ever allow it to happen. I think Ryan Pace is going to go down with the. I mean, he's going to go down with the ship. He has to. I mean, how did he watch the? How do you think he feels about Mahomes?
Or Deshaun Watson?
He's watching it every single day. He's watching.
Now he's going to live 2 more weeks with it. I mean,
and probably 10 more years.
Forever. I mean, he truly has become. It's the guy who picked Sam Bowie over Michael Jordan is saying to himself, "Thank God."
Mr. Lombardi, I can't thank you enough. You're incredible.
All right, buddy.
Hey, you think Antonio Brown ever gets given another opportunity? Hold on. Let's say
I think Antonio Brown needs help.
Hold on.
I think he really does.
He's being forced to get help. So he got arrested this morning. He turned himself in this morning for burglary and battery charges. He has 3 charges against him. Now the judge is ruling that he has to seek mental evaluation, drug and alcohol tests, and he's being monitored wherever he goes. I think this could potentially be rock bottom for him. And the fact that he would never choose to get mental health evaluations, now he's being forced to. There's a chance he learns a lot about what's going on in his brain, and hopefully he wants to fix it.
Yeah, I think that's right, Pat. I think there's no question. I think there needed to be an intervention. And I think that Rosenhaus probably wanted to do it sooner rather than later. Rosenhaus knows the level, his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, knows the level of concern. And when he basically fired him, for a lack of a better term, something was really wrong. And I think we all have to encourage this to happen because he's too great of a player. We're cheated. And if he doesn't get himself right, it's really never going to be. And if he can, that's great. And I think if he does, I think people will certainly give him a second chance. I don't think there's any doubt about that. However, that being said, he's got to prove he can get himself right. I think his health is more important than playing football.
Absolutely, 1,000%. But if he figures it out and gets his back to a mentally, or not back to, maybe for the first time in his life, to a mentally healthy spot after he learns, like maybe he has some chemical imbalances and they fix that, which is what a mental health is. If he comes back and dominates, I'll be so happy because it's like Jason Witten went and did Monday Night Football. And we live in such a what have you done for me lately world that people forgot how good Jason Witten was at football. Right. I think a lot of people have forgotten how good Antonio Brown was at football. Not just a receiver, by the way. He's the best punt returner in the history of the NFL if he wants to. I said about Tyreke Hill, but Antonio Brown could potentially be the best at 2 positions in the history of the game. And right now it's just a very, very quick, sad collapse to rock bottom.
Yeah, I mean, look, the 1 week he spent up in New England, they're still talking about how great he was up there. And they've seen a lot of great players.
All right. Hey, I appreciate you so much, Mr. Lombardi.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you going to be down at the Super Bowl next Friday?
No, I won't. I'm up here. I got the Lombardi line on Saturday and Sunday for the Borgata, so I'll be doing my show up here. So no Miami for me. But go to Joe Stonecraps for sure, Pat. Prime 114. You got to hit them all. I'm sure you'll be big at all of them.
Nah.
You got to go to Prime. You got to go to Prime 112. You got to do that. You got to. South Beach is your call, and all the great Cuban restaurants down there. You got to hit them. It's awesome.
See, I'll have a Cuban sandwich. Super Bowl week, though, I hate everything about it. And that might not sound like something like I would say, but I hate everything about it. Those parties are the worst. Yes.
Everything's hard. The airport's a pain in the neck. Everything's hard. I mean, but to me, if you can get to South Beach and not move and triple lock the doors somewhere, it's a pretty good call.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Lombardi.
Thanks, buddy.
The New Year, I hate those Super Bowl parties. When we were with Barstool had that party, and the boys wanted to go to it, And I was like, it's going to be a no for me, dog. They're like, it's going to be a good time. I was like, listen, Barstool's going to have a good time, I bet. In most cases, Super Bowl parties are the most insufferable things on planet Earth. They are just a bunch of people taking pictures of themselves being at a place. There is no party at it. It's a Super Bowl event that happens at night. There's no actual good time that to be had there. I hate them.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
I hate it. And it's nobody's fault that's hosting the party. I don't think it's anybody's fault that's hosting a party. It just becomes where people come, their agents come, their publicists come, they shake hands. It just becomes this big old...
Busta Rhymes just comes at you.
Zito got made fun of. I mean...
I had a great time.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's like your thing, though.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Tony took like 8 photos.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what it is. It is an appearance. That's what it is for people. I like to have a good time. I mean, if we're going to go out and spend until 2, 3 a.m., might as well have a good time. But hey, some people love it. Just not my thing. The new year is about growth and change. If you're a business owner looking to grow your business, I'd rather be like, imagine if you can't. You literally can't because we'd be marketing it right now. You can't have like you can't. You literally can't. Like you can't be like, oh, I'm going to have a hole in the wall type party, right? But then the people that you can't.
You promote it by saying it.
I just said it.
Yeah.
So it'd suck.
No, you just have a guest list.
Yeah, but then who gets on the guest list? And they'll be like,
your friends.
That guest tells another person.
Yeah, and
they're
they're
on the list. They don't get in.
Yeah, but if they become a notable human, so then you have to let them. You're like, oh, well, if blah 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 wants to come, they're awesome. And it's not that person that's the problem. It's normally the fact that they can't do anything because they're in public. So it's like, that guy, you just took a spot in this hole in the wall thing. Gumpy couldn't get in because he's Canadian, and you.
You do what Jeter does, and you take everyone's cell phones at the door.
That's what you have to do. That's literally what you have to do. I think at some of those places.
Then you give them a care package on the way out.
A little goodie bag.
And then you don't get unanimously selected. The new year is about growth and change. If you're a business owner looking to grow your business, LinkedIn can help you find the right hires that can set you up for a strong year. LinkedIn job screens candidates with the hard and soft skills you're looking for so you can hire the right person fast. Things like collaboration, creativity, adaptability. LinkedIn looks beyond the work skills and puts your job posts in front of qualified candidates who match your business requirements perfectly. That's how LinkedIn makes sure your job post is seen by the people you want to hire, people with the skills, qualifications, and other interests that will help your business grow. It's no wonder a person is hired every 8 seconds with LinkedIn, and why companies rated LinkedIn Jobs the #1 hiring platform for delivering quality hires. Find the right person for your business today with LinkedIn Jobs. You can pay what you want and get the first $50 off. Just visit linkedin.com/Pat. Again, that's linkedin.com/Pat to get $50 off your first job post. Terms and conditions obviously apply. Hey, Gronk has a beach bash going on down there.
Love it. Nice. Love it.
No, he's the type of guy who loves that.
Oh, yeah.
I think they take cell phones, too.
By the way, Gronk does not live by those societal rules. Gronk goes and just does it. He goes ham. The whole Gronk family goes ham.
He'll spike your Lego head out of nowhere.
Hey,
he dented a Lombardi trophy.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. He's a different. That's probably gonna be a great time. I kind of do wish I went to that Barstool one just because Zito's interactions.
Oh, Mitchell was there.
Yeah, he was.
Mitchell was there.
Trubisky?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, that's why I wish I would. See, now I'm like kind of having the FOMO thing where I'm like, oh, I met Mitchell at the thing. Actually, a good guy. Probably changes how I speak about him the entire last week. Maybe that's why I don't like it.
That mob getting in there, though, and then once you get in, you're just standing shoulder to shoulder with everyone
You
else.
gotta
Like,
find a sweet spot.
that part's not great.
That's what Super Bowl parties are, though.
Yeah.
Meeting Jamie Foxx, though.
What'd you tell him?
Greatest non-fiction quarterback of all time.
Really?
Fictional.
Fictional quarterback,
Yeah. 10:42. We're back on the other side. You listen to Pat. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. It is time for news that we missed in this first hour, 48 minutes after the hour, by old Franklin Nicholas Marauder.
News that we missed is brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels.
Hey, they got this lawnmower 3.0 thing. Hey, I feel like this is probably what happened when lumberjacks, they used to have to use that the two-sided and then a chainsaw came out. That's what the lawnmower 3.0 is to your pubes. Just vroom, expedites the process.
Go get yourself a lawnmower 3.0. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping with the code AMERICA.
Good for us.
Good deal.
The Doomsday clock is now set at 100 seconds to midnight.
Yeah, it's not good.
What does that mean, what you just said right there, the whole wording that you just said there?
It means we're one step closer to the impending end of the world.
Really? It feels like every day we do get closer to that, isn't it? Isn't that kind of interesting? I feel like every day I get older, every day I get closer to the doomsday, you know what I mean? But it does, it's the fires that are happening, and then the flooding that's happening, and then the other stuff, you're like, oh my God, and now there's something even worse than this, you're saying? Yes.
Always. There's always something worse. They didn't exactly give the reason why, but one of the reasons why could be the coronavirus outbreak.
Oh yeah, I've been hearing about this. So the coronavirus, this is like the modern Ebola, right? Like this is the thing that's going to take everybody out.
SARS and
pneumonia.
It is. Yeah, it is a chest disease.
Can you talk about what it is a little bit further? How it started?
It's a common virus actually that is an infection in your nose, sinus, upper throat. Most versions of it are not dangerous, but this particular strand seems to be quite dangerous. I don't know exactly how it started, but it's been spreading it was from bats, I believe.
It started in Asian meat markets.
Yeah.
And I've had the sniffles, the coughs here for 3-4 weeks.
Me too.
Asia's literally shutting people down from coming in.
Really?
They better.
Well, I don't want to talk. I just don't want to talk about that.
And then someone flew to Seattle, and now it's in the U.S.
Now it's in Chicago.
Yes.
Chicago?
Yeah, it's close.
That is very close.
Yeah, we're screwed.
No, remember when Ebola happened, they had people wearing full hazmat suits to walk with the person or roll the... Remember that video from the sky cam? They were hazmat suits rolling the bed, hospital bed of the person just chilling. By the way, the person's just chilling like this. They didn't have a mask on or anything. They were just chilling. Hazmat suits to the plane. And then basically like, yeah, you got him now. The Ebola thing was treated as if it was a massive deal. This is in Chicago now, which is spreading as if it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I suppose she got it January 13th when she was at O'Hare Airport.
It's not good.
At airport?
Yeah, O'Hare Airport, yeah.
That's how it's spreading.
It's in the system.
We started flying commercial all of a sudden.
I didn't think about that.
We came out of LaGuardia and JFK.
New York.
Gumpy just flew here from Seattle where patient zero
I
was.
didn't go through Seattle.
Thank
I went
God.
through Minnesota. Thank you.
Good news.
We got to keep masks.
I think the cure of the coronavirus is somewhere in the pub, though. So if we want to go look for it, that's where we
I'm
start.
surprised no virus strain has come from that place.
I think it has, but we're immune to it.
So this might be dumb. Nothing to do with coronas.
No.
Nick, let's move forward past the
And
death for all of us.
NHL mascot Gritty is under police investigation following allegations of physical assault. He allegedly punched a 13-year-old boy in the back during a meet and greet.
T-shirt at store.pacmcafeeshow.com.
Gritty, don't get arrested. It's not a bad T-shirt, actually.
20% off right now.
Hey, not a laughing matter that a grown man punched a child, but a mascot dressed as that disgusting scumbag-looking character, Gritty, punching a child at a meet and greet. Something that I think we can laugh about if the 13-year-old's okay.
Was the kid talking smack?
Well, I don't even know if you're allowed to ask that question. I honestly, we're on too many channels now that I'm not 100% sure you're even allowed to ask that
I'm
question.
not advocating for punching children in the back, but I'm just saying these mascots, they get effed with quite a bit. So I want to know the complete
He
story.
did not say that, but we did see on the internet a bunch. People were asking, did the kid
So a lot of people are saying
deserve it?
As the story goes, allegedly the child walked up and patted the mascot on the head, and then after the photo was taken, Gritty got out of his chair, took a running start, and punched his son as hard as he could.
Fuck out, it's Gritty.
Tapped him on the head. How big was this kid?
Honestly, he was sitting down. He was sitting down. The tap on the head seems like that might have been a right hook.
Yeah, probably.
But I mean, 13-year-olds always act properly in public. But the especially me and my kid. That's why I'm not procreating, by the way, because my kid's gonna suck. I know my kid's gonna do what that kid did to Gritty. Probably. I mean, it's just my kid's gonna be terrible, and I know it going in, and I'm trying to save the world from that. But mascots do get messed with
all the time.
It's a real shame almost. And Gritty, I feel like, is a positive. He is one of the most positive spins for a mascot. He's one that everybody seems to like.
He was just going viral for banging on a trash can, making fun of the Astros, and then this.
Classic
It's tough, too,
Gritty.
because there are probably other people that play Gritty, and now
the
their
meet and greet
reputation
Gritty
is tarnished.
The meet and greet Gritty came in hungover, said, "I'm not having anybody's stuff today," and went after him. You know, it's like Joker.
He's basically got pillows on his hands. I mean, come on. He's fine.
All right. Anything else?
BTS has announced their map of the Seoul tour dates and locations. They're going on a 2020 world tour.
Okay. Yes. And this is a swan song, right? They're done?
I did not know that.
Yeah. I think they're breaking up after this. I think this is it. Why? Well, they just put out a song called the Swan Song.
It's not good.
So I think, the Urban Dictionary told me that means last time around.
Different meaning Korean.
All good things got to come to an end.
Oh, let's hope they don't. Because we're a big BTS show.
Right. Yes,
we will
right.
lose a lot of content if they do. But if they do, thanks for everything they've done for us. Honestly.
Well said.
Thanks for everything they've done for us. We got a hard out now in 25 seconds. And program directors in New York are upset that we don't always get the full Indiana in time. I would like to let them know that that's the show, pal. Okay? Sometimes I got some other things to say. And if we don't get all of Indiana in the final seconds, know that that's the damn state that Indianapolis is in. And on the other side, there's more Pat McAfee Show from Indianapolis, Indiana!
It's the perfect occasion for a little vacation from the heart of the nation. Not a young medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
Yeah, it is Chase Rice, and just like you sang that intro beautifully, your new album that called The Album Part 1 just dropped today, and it's very good, Chase. We appreciate you. Hope you're enjoying Germany right now. Flugentag, my friend. Flugentag. Joining us in the studio here is all the boys on this Feel Good Friday, January 24th, 2020. At Boston Connor is on the casting couch with Gumpy from Canada, Nick Moraldo, Tone Diggs, Ty Schmidt, Jason McAfee, Zito, Foxy, and Todd McComas, who has not slept yet because he's solving cold cases overnight upstairs of our office for a true crime podcast series that he will be releasing in sometime in the near future. Excited for you, Todd. Thankful for you, Todd. Excited to see that all come to fruition. Now, in the first hour, we talked to Michael Lombardi, former general manager for the Cleveland Browns and also front office worker and coaching analyst and consultant for the New England Patriots. Now he's a podcaster in a live show. The guy's a wealth of knowledge. He was fired from the Cleveland Browns, so in my world, that means he's been around because you've never been officially in the NFL until you've been fired from the Cleveland Browns. It's an actual statement said by coaches and front office people. So he was in the NFL for a long time. And Diggs asked him this question because we started chatting about it this morning. Is Alex Smith going to return to the NFL next year and be a starter? Then obviously we chimed in with the Bears are a place looking for a quarterback. And then as we just talked about it during the break there, Alex Smith has become this forgotten quarterback amongst this whole thing. Forgotten because of a slew of reasons, I'd assume. The amount of drama that has happened with the Washington Redskins since Alex Smith had his horrific leg injury, almost makes you forget that Alex Smith was even a quarterback for the Redskins, let alone doing well for the Redskins at quarterback with Jay Gruden. Now, you think back to the year before Alex Smith was at the Redskins and before the horrific injury at the Kansas City Chiefs, whenever he got traded away from the Chiefs or let go from the Chiefs and was sent to the Redskins, a lot of people were like, they're going to get rid of Alex Smith, this man who was called the consummate game manager, but screw all that. Every quarterback is a game manager. For the Kansas City Chiefs, he was in MVP conversations whenever he was at the end of his run there for the Kansas City Chiefs. He gets a massive deal with the Washington Redskins. He gets hurt. Now he's become this forgotten person. Just in December, he came out and said that he plans on playing in 2020. Now, the Washington Redskins have a brand new head coach. They have a new president of the whole operation over there. I'm assuming that they're going to start anew here with Dwayne Haskins moving forward. So you can bank on the fact that if Alex Smith can run and throw and play football still, he is going to be a highly sought after quarterback. Now, other teams are going to want guarantees that he's healthy. Other teams are going to want guarantees that he can perform his duties as a high caliber NFL quarterback who's going to be paid $21 million next year. His contract still calls for. But $21 million is about 15, 16 in the salary list of starting quarterbacks. So it's good value on your money. He's a veteran quarterback who could be, you could look at it as a guy who might not be able to play as good. I would say rested and rehabbed and recovered after a horrific, brutal. He could end up anywhere. We said the Chicago Bears. That would make sense because it might be like the Chicago Bears are looking for a new quarterback. Michael Lombardi, former GM of the Cleveland Browns and other things, says that there's no way Pace will cut ties with Trubisky. He's kind of going down with the ship like it's a Titanic because everybody knows Trubisky was drafted ahead of Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes, who's potentially going to be a Super Bowl champ and also make $200 million in the next offseason. So the thought that maybe he doesn't end up at the Bears because maybe the Bears aren't even looking for anybody. But Alex Smith could end up anywhere. Alex Smith to the Cincinnati Bengals, you go, that makes sense. Alex Smith to the Indianapolis Colts, you go, that makes sense. Alex Smith to the New England Patriots, if Tom Brady leaves, that makes sense. Alex Smith and Tom Brady are basically in the same conversation right now of, I could see them being quarterback for that team. They could be quarterback for that team. And the New England Patriots are a shared team that could potentially have Tom Brady or Alex Smith, as are the Raiders. If John Gruden wants to make a move, Alex Smith and Tom Brady. The Colts, Alex Smith and Tom Brady are a chance. The Bengals, Alex Smith and Tom Brady are a chance. You look even at the Dolphins aren't going to bring in Alex Smith for Ryan Fitzpatrick. No way.
Panthers, maybe?
Panthers are potentially in the shop for Alex Smith or Tom Brady. Right now, Alex Smith and Tom Brady are the potential starting quarterbacks for like 8 to 9 teams in the NFL next year.
Even Tampa Bay. You think about, are you going to pay Jameis 30 or 35, or you get Alex Smith for 21?
And Alex Smith, by the way, there's supposedly mutual interest between Phillip Rivers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, when I talked to, I forget who we talked to. Maybe it was A.Q. Shipley. I don't know. Bruce Arians' offense, I guess, is incredibly complicated. It is an offense that you have to very much understand the concepts and the schemes and this and that. So you're going to have to get a heady quarterback. Now, with that being said, Jameis threw for a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns because that's what Bruce Arians' offense is, though. But he also threw for 30 interceptions. Maybe it's because of the concepts being a little bit difficult, knowing not to throw somewhere whenever you're not supposed to. But there's supposedly mutual interest between Phillip Rivers and the Buccaneers. I think that's the only place where Phillip Rivers comes into play. But everywhere else, Alex Smith is this guy that nobody is really talking about. He could potentially be a guy somewhere, and I'm excited to kind of see that redemption story for old Alex Smith and his leg.
His last season as a starting quarterback, he threw for 26 touchdowns and 5 interceptions.
Yes. That's where they're like, well, he's a game manager. But he's a game manager. He's not going to win the game for you. He's not going to lose the game for you. It's like, that's every single quarterback. That's literally every single quarterback. What are we even talking about here?
Think about how good Mahomes was in practice to get rid of a quarterback that was 26 touchdowns and 5 interceptions.
I used to think about that a lot. Like back in the day with the Packers, when Aaron Rodgers was running scout team, think about what they used to do to that Packers defense, I bet. Then you think about what Patrick Mahomes used to do to that Kansas City Chiefs defense, and then they're finally like, the entire defense is like, we've been telling you, hey, because they're probably getting chewed out at practice. Like, how are you doing this? Just wait till somebody else has to face this guy. Then he got to start because they were so good. They were resting Alex Smith the last game of the season in Denver. Patrick Mahomes gets to start, wins in Denver. So what they saw in practice and what they saw in that game, they were like, this guy's the guy. We can get rid of Alex Smith, who just almost almost had an MVP season, and everybody was like, you dummies, you dummies. I even said it. Well, what is stupid. This Alex Smith is finally hitting his prime here, and you guys get rid of him. It's like, oh, the next guy is there. Oh, that makes sense. And that's what Patrick Mahomes has proved. But Alex Smith will be an upgrade at a lot of places.
It would make sense for him to be a stopgap at a bunch of places, too, because, like you said, you get a couple of these teams who are going to draft a rookie quarterback. Like, I mean, granted, Patrick Mahomes is unbelievable, but Alex Smith obviously helped in his development. You know, I mean, like, that's a good guy to sit behind.
Didn't even think about that. Yeah, Alex Smith has been there, done that with everything. I mean, controversy with the Aaron Rodgers situation.
Yeah.
Literally immediately from Jump Street, he gets drafted to the Niners. I think Kaepernick
lost his job when Kaepernick came in.
Lost his job to Kaepernick. He's been a backup. He's been a starter. And then he started getting into his prime there in that Andy Reid offense. And you think Andy Reid and Matt Nagy have a bit of a connection. That would be an interesting little thing that's an interesting storyline that has not been talked about by anybody. Alex Smith could be all the way back next year.
Is he similar? Well, I know the age difference is much different.
He's 36.
But Teddy Bridgewater had a terrible injury and then had to go and prove himself as a backup. But I don't think Alex will have to do that because of the age.
Well, I think both of those I think Teddy Bridgewater and Alex Smith, both MVP conversations, right? When Teddy Bridgewater got hurt, everybody on earth was expecting Teddy Bridgewater to take over the NFL that next year. Honestly, like maybe not everybody on earth, but everybody in the NFL was like excited for the Teddy Bridgewater era that was potentially about to happen because of how fast his stock was rising. Then that horrific injury happens that rattles the entire NFL. We heard about it at our practice. We were like, damn. So it's one of those situations where, yeah, I think those are pretty comparable, though. I really do. But the thing about Teddy Bridgewater is he's not being forgotten, right?
No.
Teddy Bridgewater that entire time. He signed with the Jets for $500,000 guarantee. I mean, he didn't get a lot of respect in the market. I think Alex Smith has been around longer, so that's why he'll probably get a little bit more consideration. But I think those are two very comparable conversations.
At that cap number, could you afford to even bring him in as a backup quarterback?
No, not $21 million. That's a lot. I think the highest was, $8 million this year or $7 million?
But it also could be where nobody is going to trade for him because the Redskins – I don't know if they cut him to save $10 million this year. That's
because there's dead cap of $9 million or whatever, which is the signing bonus in front that they still have to pay for. I don't know. I'll be very, very excited to see how this all plays out. Good for Alex Smith. Bad for Antonio Brown. Bad news for Antonio Brown. Friday, January 24, 2020 is going to be a day that Antonio Brown in 15, 20 years is going to talk about, either being the day where his life completely turned around or the day where it started the downfall of everything. He turned himself in this morning for a battery and burglary charge, and then there was 3 charges altogether, that it was due to a fight with a mover, I guess, that delivered something to his house. He didn't want to pay. I get the stories are all alleged. He and his trainer threw rocks at the truck leaves. They call him back, say they're going to pay. He comes back. Allegedly, they don't pay him. They beat him up. They tell him to leave. So they're saying he stole his services, I guess, and then battery, they beat him up, this whole thing. This story... Antonio Brown's story has somehow gone from bad to worse. This guy who had all the talent in the world, potentially best wide receiver of all time. In my eyes, potentially best punt returner of all time. This guy who was a lightning rod. This guy who was so damn good at football that even amidst all of this distraction and terrible things happening, he was signed to 3 teams in 1 year. Steelers, Raiders, and the Patriots being one of them. Now, terrible accusations come out against him, alleged incidents that are despicable, so the Patriots get rid of him. Now we've kind of watched his life just spiral into this thing that is a everyday viral gratification type situation. He's become a rapper now. And I was almost happy for Antonio Brown if he had moved on in his life, decided to become a rapper, said, I'm going to retire, I'm going to do this and move forward. But he kept saying that he wanted to get back into the NFL, but he was doing things that would never allow him back in the NFL. Now, as of this morning, the judge has ruled that he's being monitored with a device since he paid his bond. He has to do drug and alcohol testing, and he has to have a mental evaluation. So today is the day that he's being forced into mental health treatment, where Antonio Brown could potentially learn about what's going on in his brain and hopefully decide to make it better, become the best Antonio Brown of all time, maybe balance out some chemicals up there and get back in the NFL, or it's the day where Antonio Brown's life is just the beginning of the end.
Yeah, I mean, I am a Steeler fan. And when all of this started, when he went to the Raiders and it was the helmet and the feet and all that stuff, and then he went to the Patriots and got cut there, I was enjoying it, but it's got to a point where it's kind of gotten to where it's sad, and like if he doesn't get it turned around, you fear for the worst. So hopefully being forced to do this is a good thing.
Every Friday, the NFLPA texts me. One time it was on Thursday, and that was the only time I responded and told them, this isn't a Friday tip, it's Thursday. But they just have this number, right, that just look, I mean, if you're watching at home, I don't know if you can see it. It literally is just one long stream of text messages. It never ends. It's just motivational quotes and things like that. Today, I think they saw what happened oh, here we go. Do you see that? You can't see it. There it is. It's just little bursts that come every single Friday. Just little NFLPA tips and quotes and stuff like that. That one was much longer than the other one. This one says, NFLPA tips, happy Friday. Not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some come to clear your path.
Oh, wow.
I think that's about Antonio Brown. This is a storm right now. Maybe this has come to clear the path for the guy to get his mental right or to lose all his chickens. 13 minutes after the hour. We got to get to a break. We have Brian Westbrook joining us when?
11:15, other side.
On the other side of the break, we'll talk to him about the Philadelphia Eagles, Donovan McNabb, Terrell Owens, a lot of, forever story. And also, I want to talk to him about this run game for the Niners, what it would have been like to rush for 186 yards before contact in an NFC Championship game. That had to feel good for Mostert, man. Good for him.
It did.
What a moment. Breaking news, this important PSA is brought to you by Manscaped.com. This is your public service announcement. After more than 18 months of research and development, the Manscaped engineering team there it is, has confirmed that they have successfully created the greatest ball trimmer ever created. This new trimmer was just released only moments ago, that's a lie, yesterday, and we were the first to confirm the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0 Manscaping trimmer is now available for purchase. This third-generation Manscaped trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to prevent manscaping accidents. Millions and millions of balls are about to be nick-free thanks to Manscaped's advanced skin-safe technology. When I tell you this is premium, I mean premium. The battery on the Lawnmower 3.0 will last up to 90 minutes, so take your time. One of the coolest new features is an LED light, which illuminates your grooming areas for a closer and more precise trimming. They've upgraded to a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology. Not only is it nick-proof, not only is your kit and caboodle going to look better than it's ever looked before. Now you're shaving that thing with a Hemi. Now you're using 7,000 RPM motor with LED lights thanks to the Lawnmower 3.0. You get 20% off and free shipping with the code America at manscaped.com. And as always, your jewels will thank you. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code America at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code America. This is life-changing. Honestly, go down there with no fear. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. I was going to try to find a word that rhymed with bush. Couldn't do it. Say goodbye to the bush. 16 minutes after the hours. On the other side, we got Brian Westbrook. You're listening to Deep Pat McAfee Show. Push the bush. Push the bush. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Joining us now is a man that was, let me make sure I get this right, 2-time Pro Bowler, All-Pro. He's in the Philadelphia Eagles Hall of Fame. He's on the Philadelphia Eagles 75th anniversary team. He won the Walter Payton Award. He's 2-time Atlantic 10 Offensive Player of the Year. Rushed for 6,335 yards in the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Westbrook.
What's up, guys? How's everything going?
Hey, not too shabby. It's great to chat with you again. I hate that we have you on the show strictly because that the reason why it was all brought back to fruition, that Eagles team you were on, it always has to do with some sort of drama. I heard you talk about this yesterday on First Things First about how one of your biggest regrets was that you weren't old enough to be able to tell T.O. and Donovan McNabb to get over it. Is that something that you truly ever think about on a daily basis or a regular basis, or is it just something that comes up every once in a while?
I don't think about it at all, quite honestly. I'm almost never. I think the truth is that if it wasn't for Donovan and T.O.'s conversation on Twitter, I probably wouldn't have even mentioned it to anyone. Again, all this stuff happened in 2004 and 2005. It's 15 years old. I'm not sure why it's still even being brought up at this point. So to me, it's just old news, and I never, ever think about it.
Did you guys have any – because every once in a while – there's a couple times where I was in a locker room where I knew two guys didn't like each other, right?
Yeah.
But normally they kind of got over it because they were in a team. Was there ever a situation in that Eagles locker room where you guys were like, you know what, we think T.O. and Donovan will be able to get over this and be friends again?
Well, I think the hope, at least initially, was that they'll be able to get over it and they'll figure a way out to be able to play together. And the other part is that, you know, Donovan needed a star receiver and T.O. needed a star quarterback. And so they kind of needed each other as far as to get over that hump. And I think if we were on the same page, we would have made a few Super Bowl runs and hopefully have won a couple of those Super Bowls. But unfortunately, they weren't able to get over it. But I think as far as everyone on the team, you just kind of felt that eventually these guys will figure it out. Maybe there's just some type of small spat and they'll just it'll all work itself out. Unfortunately, it never did.
I will never ask you whose fault it is because I think just like in dancing, it takes two to tango. If there's a beef, you need both sides, obviously, to make a mistake. But I think, pivoting to another conversation, Andy Reid's the coach there, right? Andy Reid never gets talked about in dealing with Donovan and T.O.'s really beef happening. His two-star players have a real beef. Now, and just like Mike Tomlin isn't getting talked about enough credit with dealing with Antonio Brown there towards the end of his career, if what is happening now is what was happening in Pittsburgh. But Andy Reid doesn't get talked about much as a guy who really finds an ability to make the most out of a situation. And in this Chiefs team right now, I think he has made the most out of every player on that roster.
Well, you know, first of all, it starts with the quarterback position. When you have that type of guy, Patrick Mahomes, that can make every throw, that's going to make everyone around him much better, that's how you start things off, and you have to start there. But then you look at the wide receivers position in particular. They got a bunch of speed. Sammy Watkins, former #1 draft pick, first rounder anyway, and he had a great game this past week, 114 yards. That was something that coming into the game, I'm saying, okay, if I'm going to take anybody away, it's going to be Tyreke Hill. And then if I have the ability to take away Travis Kelce as well as Tyreke Hill, I'm going to do that. Unfortunately, for the Tennessee Titans, they forgot about Sammy Watkins and his ability to make plays. And I think really they didn't forget about him. They went into the game and said, we won't be beat by Tyreke Hill and Travis Kelce. If we get beat by Sammy Watkins and Patrick Mahomes, we're okay. We'll just have to live with it. And that's exactly what happened. And so I think Andy Reid has just done a great job of scheming guys open, of allowing his quarterback to play free. And because of that, they're playing in the Super Bowl.
Is that an incredibly complicated offense to learn? Because I feel like he's been able to get a lot of different plays. I feel like we see new plays every single week, new designs, new concepts out of Andy Reid. Is his offense just always evolving throughout the season, or what is his offense like to play in?
Well, you know, the funny thing about that offense is that it's not hard to learn. It's all about finding out what personnel you in and what formations, because a lot of the times you're trying to get to the same spots. It's just different people doing it. And so one play you'll have Tyreke Hill going deep and Travis Kelce working the middle, and maybe Sammy Watkins doing the underneath route. The next play, it'll be the same exact play, but you'll have three different guys doing different things, meaning Travis Kelce will be going deep, Tyreke Hill be working the middle of the field, and then Sammy Watkins may still be working a shallow crosser. And so it looks totally different to the defense, but it's really the same play because it's the same guys getting to the same space. And so really it's not terribly difficult to understand and come up with. I just think Andy Reid does a great job of personnel, motions, and shifts, similar to what Kyle Shanahan does for the 49ers, and it makes the defense think it's a totally different play.
Okay, earlier in the year, they weren't clicking on all cylinders like they are right now. I mean, and granted, they'll even have a bad series or two to start games now in the last couple weeks, but it doesn't matter. If you're the 49ers, how do you stop this Andy Reid offense? What is the thought? Just let our four guys up front wreak havoc and make Patrick Mahomes stay in the pocket? Is that your best shot? How do you stop it?
Well, I think you start with the four guys up front, and of course you'll bring five with Fred Warner just a little bit, and maybe you bring six with another type of blitz. But really how you slow down this Kansas City offense is you hold on to the football. I mean, that's the real truth. And the truth is that in most NFL games, you're going to have 10 or 12, between 10 and 12 possessions. And so if you can find a way to run the football a little bit more, control the clock, and turn that into only 8 to 10 possessions for the Kansas City Chiefs, that's a win right there. So now your defense has to come up with some stops on 3 or 4 of those possessions, and hopefully you can limit them to 28 points. We know that the Kansas City Chiefs can score points. You have to limit their possession, limit their opportunities, and if you do that, then you have a chance of getting some stops and hopefully allowing Patrick Mahomes to sit on the sideline a bunch of the game.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes can score as quick as he can score at any given moment, but you need your defense to make a couple stops and limit the amount of possessions is what you would think would be a good recipe. The San Francisco 49ers, they've proved all year, but more again last week, they can run the rock. Have you ever seen anything like what Mostert was able to run through last week? He had 186 yards before contact last week.
Yeah, it's impressive the way that Kyle Shanahan has schemed up things just to make sure that his running backs are in good shape. And really what he's doing is that because of the motions, because of the shifts, because of so many things that the defensive players have to think about, is that they're out there thinking. They're literally out there thinking. And as a player, you don't want to be thinking. You just want to go out there and react and do things naturally. And because of all the things that Kyle Shanahan presents offensively, it's just hard not to be thinking and trying to figure out what they're going to do next. And so now you have running lanes that you're running through that are 5-6 yards wide, and it's almost impossible to win if you're giving up those types of chunk plays. It's been kind of funny over the last couple of days. People have been really down on Jimmy Garoppolo. He's only thrown 15 passes, and Kyle Shanahan doesn't trust him. And I'm like, well, how do you know that? He was successful in those 15 passes. It just so happened that they have a run game that was unstoppable. And just like in Madden, just like in any other football game, if you have something that's unstoppable, you keep doing it. And that's why you see Kansas City throwing the ball all the time, because it's hard for teams to stop it. The same thing works for the San Francisco 49ers. It just happens to be the run game.
I said that earlier in the week. I was like, I'm tired of people talking about Jimmy G. He actually proved to me that he's just a selfless guy. Instead of checking out of those runs, which you and I both know quarterbacks can and have done in certain situations, he just said, yo, we are steamrolling right now this way. I just got to do what I got to do to get out of the way. I think that showed him to be selfless, and if he has to go air it out, he proved that he can do that with Drew Brees down there in the Saints.
If you told me I was a quarterback and I knew that the run game was just going the way that it's been going for San Francisco, and I only had to throw 8 passes in the game, and I'm going to complete 6 of them, and we're still going to win big, then I'm willing and down for that, because that's going to lead me to the big game, the Super Bowl, and give us an opportunity to win that ring. And listen, if you're Jimmy G, you're going to do exactly that, and that's going to help your team win, and that's what he's been doing.
Well, and Jimmy G's already been paid too, so let's not.
There you go.
Yeah, like if I hadn't been paid yet and I was a quarterback and they're like, listen, you're going to throw the ball 8 times, you're going to do this. I'm like, oh, can we reconsider just for a chance for a check? How do you think it ends up? What do you think happens? You think Andy Reid gets his first big one here, and are you going to be happy as an ex-player for him, or you think the Niners are going to ruin it?
I sure hope that Andy Reid finds a ways to get it done. I mean, I think there will have more opportunities in the future, but there's no better time than the present. So I think that the Kansas City Chiefs find a way to get it done. But I'll tell you this, as much as the 49ers run the ball, they scored just as many points, if not more points, in the regular season than the Kansas City Chiefs. They know how to score the points. They also know how to defend. And so because the Kansas City Chiefs have been a one-trick pony offensively, basically throwing the football, and when you get tired of throwing it, throw it some more. if the San Francisco 49ers can find a way to slow that down just a bit, then they got a chance to win this game. And I certainly hope that Andy Reid gets it, but I can see the game going either way.
I mean, that was kind of a cop out there.
That was a no answer. That's what that was. That was kind of like a no answer.
Yeah, that was a Roger Goodell. That was because I honestly I feel as if the Chiefs are going to win, but everybody that I respect and appreciate their brains like, nah, Niners defense is going to be a problem for them. So I was excited to hear what you had to say, but then you just gave me the same way I feel. And
I gave you a no answer. You know why? Because it's a Friday the week before the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So if you catch me next Friday, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get back on your show next week. See, I have a game plan right here.
All right,
let's
have you on Thursday. I won't be able to FaceTime on Friday. I'll be down at Radio Row in a tiny little set. So let's do Thursday. We'll FaceTime. We'll get your prediction. And you're wearing a collared shirt. What are you doing? You in business right now? You shaking hands, kissing babies?
No, I had to do first things first this morning, and then I had to do a couple videos, and then I kissed some babies and shook some hands. And so here I am, back home, still with this collar shirt on. And you look great with your T-shirt on, man. Look, you've been lifting and everything, I can tell.
Hey, I've been on keto for a day and a half. Sorry, it's been on. Do you enjoy those first things first shows? Is it a debate show? I don't get to watch it as much as I should. It's kind of early. We're kind of prepping for our show as that's happening. Is it a debate show? Do you enjoy that type of stuff?
I do enjoy it. It's a good show. Nick Wright, Jenna Wolf, and they rotated hosts and guests for the last few months here. So it's been a really good show. Opportunity for you. Listen, you're in media. It's all about getting the reps. And so for me, it's been a great opportunity. I've enjoyed it. And it is kind of a debate show. And so everyone has their opinion of how they think things will go. Nick Wright believes that the Kansas City Chiefs are the next thing next to God and the greatest show on turf. I think they're really, really good. We'll see how it turns out in the Super Bowl. So I've enjoyed that show for sure.
Well, I'm happy you took another rep with us, brother. You're great. Can't wait to talk to you on Thursday. Ladies and gentlemen, Eagles Hall of Famer, Brian Westbrook. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, guys.
He's good. He's really good.
Oh, yeah.
That entire T.O. Donovan McNabb thing, he has to hate and also love.
Uh-huh.
Because, like, when Andrew retired, for instance, a lot of people was like, oh, he retired young from the Colts. It was like, oh, we got to talk to Pat about it. So you get a lot of chance to speak about it, but you don't want to talk out of turn for somebody, right? I feel like he probably feels that way a lot about Donovan and T.O. He's like, I don't want to speak out of pocket here. I'm not 100% sure. But, yeah, we all hated it. That's kind of what he said. Let's get to a break here, and then we'll wrap it up with phone calls on this Feel Good Friday. Big thanks to Brian Westbrook and Michael Lombardi, all the guests this week, and you guys. Now let's see if the phones don't suck. This has been a common occurrence on this show is that the phones stink. Michael Francesa, sports pope, terrible stock advisor. Terrible. Hell of a career, one of the first radio guys really to ever, sports radio guys to make it. Legend in this business. I did an interview with him before the show went live. And I was like, Francesa, your callers are a major part of your show. Like a major part of the show are the callers. How should I treat my callers, because they're fans? He's like, they are not fans. They are people that want to be a part of the show. You're up there on a stage, Pat, doing a play, and then somebody from the crowd just walks up there and ruins the show. What do? You get that little hanger thing, you pull them the hell off of the stage. That's what he wanted me to do. I'm too nice to do that. But, boy, it's getting to a point where I'm like, let's shut down the phones. I might suspend phone lines for a week. But I feel like Brandon, James, Gary from UPS, he's good. UPS Gary from Connecticut's good. Connor, Mitchell, and Sterling have a real shot here. I'm excited to chat with them and wrap up this incredible week. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. I have no clue why. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. There was a lot of slander during the commercial break, and Ty is not happy about it.
No, every Friday we get Pizza Hut for the boys because all the boys love pizza. We love the Hut.
Yep.
They've had 2 questionable weeks the last 2 weeks.
3. It's been 3 questionable weeks by the Pizza Hut, by the office.
All these guys are acting like it's some third-rate pizza chain, all right?
It's the best national pizza chain there is.
Bar none.
Not even a close second.
Well, I mean, I think Domino's is better.
Oh, my
But I'm not turning.
You don't. No, you
You
don't.
don't believe that.
I do, and I'm not
Yeah,
turning
the
on
bread
Pizza Hut.
bowls
I would
are-
gladly get Pizza Hut today as well, but everyone else has turned, and I'm flexible.
No, that is not accurate. Nick has been stirring this entire pot.
No,
But
it's-
No.
It started with
There's
Tony.
someone
No, it
stirring
did.
this entire
Started
pot.
with Tony.
And that person is a guy that's in the behind the glass normally. This kid was once a videographer for weddings. Now he's become full-time producer of Pat McAfee Show and does all of our videos. He's been on the sideline of the national championship. Kid's been at the Super Bowl. He's really one of the most talented editors probably to ever walk this earth. But Ty was in a moment of need when everybody's bashing Pizza and he's already angry. And Foxy just dropped a nuke on him from the back. He said, Pizza Hut's the worst pizza I ever had. And I had to look at Foxy. I said, if that's the case.
Oh, he's hitting it today.
Interesting.
Ty says back. Ty says, it's interesting that you are judging what's good and what's bad because anytime you've had a chance to do something good on camera, you've only done bad. And what he was referring to is the $1,000 Cash App three-pointer that you have now gone 0 for 4 on and let down all of our fans.
That has absolutely nothing to do with how last Friday's pizza tasted. You were not in the office last Friday because you were taking care of some business. That Pizza Hut we got was the worst pizza I've ever had, and I said pizza for the boys
got a
needs to
swagger
change
today.
to a different chain that has better wings and better pizza.
yeah,
They
see,
don't have better
exactly,
wings. All right,
exactly.
listen, it doesn't matter. We are going to move past this conversation. But Ty did bring up a very valid point. Now, Ty's not happy. That was him hitting the table. Ty brought up a very valid point about Foxy's judgment on what's good and bad because he's never really done good on camera when it comes to a physical activity. Foxy, here we are, 42 minutes after the hour. You have a chance to win $1,000 to give away on the Cash App. Once again, you are 0 for 4 in these types of shots. I don't think anything's going to change from beforehand. There's 0 chance this ball goes in. Diggs, what do you got?
He seems very, very confident today and a swagger to him. I want to put 50 on Foxy. Any takers against me?
Okay, I'll bet against you for
I'll
sure.
go against you.
Yeah, Todd hasn't slept. He's
Well, that's
against
100. So that,
All right, Foxy, from 3 to potentially make this Feel Good Friday a Giving Friday to give $1,000 randomly giveaway via the Cash App and $100 out of Diggs' pocket to me and Todd.
that's not what I said.
Kind of. Go ahead, Foxy. Kid from Michigan with a beard. A lot of excuses. His worst shot to date. His worst shot to date. All right. Sorry, fans. Foxy just let you down. Diggs, I'll take those in 2 20s and a 10. Todd, what do you want? Ones back there? You want anything?
All ones, baby.
All ones. All right. Thank you so much. Foxy, that's tough. That's tough, especially the stand you took against Ty there. Let's get to Mitchell in Houston, Texas. He's been wanting to call the show for a long time. Mitchell, what's going on, pal? That was a bad shot, Foxy.
Hey, Pat, hope you're doing good.
You know what? I'm actually kind of doing good, actually, because the guy that slandered the best national pizza brand just got embarrassed once again on television.
That's comeuppance right there.
Yeah, good word
I
right
don't
there.
want to hear any Domino slander. I can't take it anyway.
Because Domino's is better than
first thing
Pizza
I
Hut.
wanna say,
Why are you speaking?
possible.
Mute
First,
his
I want to
mic.
say we were unsuccessful in bankrupting Omaha Steaks.
Sorry, Mitchell.
I tried to bankrupt the Omaha Steaks, but the deal was so stupid. I don't think we were successful. But thanks for the gift idea.
No problem,
So,
man. I
Two
appreciate
quick
it.
ideas. People say Mr. Dangerous Baker Mayfield shouldn't be on TV. Then I need a video game player, Juju, off my TV as well. He looks more like a number 2 to Washington this year.
Oh.
Ooh.
Juju
And
Smith-Schuster is going
second-
to Washington?
James Washington.
James Washington, yeah. Number 2 receiver. Too.
No, Washington is a number 1.
Oh, jeez.
Juju looks like a number 2. That's why I need him off my TV and at practice getting better this offseason.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Mitchell?
In all seriousness, instead of hell no Billy O, you have to admit All-Pro Tunsil and Stills with the game-winning seals was a good trade for a first and a third.
True.
What if B.O.B. goes to GM and Saleh or McDaniels come in and coach? Preferably Saleh, because we didn't get Wade Phillips, and they promoted some bozo behind Romeo Cornell.
That's an interesting thought, that Billy O gives up his head coaching duties and just moves to general manager and front office because he's currently running both of them down there in Houston. I'm not sure if that'll happen.
There's no way he would give up that coaching job on his own accord.
No.
Yeah, you got to get rid of both. He's got to eliminate both jobs. Is that what you're saying?
Seem like the type of guy that would do that?
I don't know. That trade for, I mean, he was right, though. That move with the Dolphins. Now, granted, anybody that made deals with the Dolphins this past year, they benefited from it. Minka Fitzpatrick went to Steelers. I'm just getting defensive MVP. Then Tunsil and Stills were great trades for the Dolphins there. And the Dolphins in return got a lot of picks and a lot of money, and who knows what they're going to do with it. But that would be interesting. What if Billy O says, yeah, what everybody's saying is right. I can't coach a damn thing. But I can trade a lot of people for stuff.
I don't know.
What if he does that?
Did you hear him yelling at the fans in the tunnel?
No, I didn't hear it. What did he say?
Oh, well, I can't say it on this show, but
Billy O'Brien?
Oh, yeah. You suck too. And then a few words after that.
Oh,
yeah.
To who? Texans fans?
Oh, yeah. It was
These
at home.
Penn State coaches, man.
They went to, James Franklin tried to get in the crowd and fight a guy against Ohio State. Good for them, man. Fiery. Let's go to Connor in Buffalo, New York. What up, pal?
Hey, Pat. Hope you're doing well.
Thanks, man.
I've got a pitch for you right now, brother. I think that there's a very important part of the brand that is being under-recognized on the internet, and that is the long snapper. I think you need to get my man Reed Ferguson from the Buffalo Bills, number 69, perhaps the greatest long snapper in the game, on the show. Discuss the brand. Great guy.
Connor!
Was that Frank Caliendo doing Gruden's voice?
I think that was actually the Bills' long snapper.
That is, I respect it. Let's go to Gary in Connecticut. Gary, our favorite UPS driver. How you doing, pal?
I'm good, man. I'll tell you what, man. I know you don't want to get on the callers, Pat, but let me handle that. Yo, if you're going to call Pat's show and not bring straight fire, do me and all the other listeners a favor. Don't call. Like, what is the deal?
Agreed.
I know everybody can't be Gump. Everybody can't be the legendary UPS guy Gary from Connecticut representing. But yo, I mean, come on. And give me the floor for 2 seconds, Pat. And I'm a roast Foxy because Foxy's getting on my. You told him he was on the dream team. All of a sudden, he's got a big head, taking shots at Pizza Hut. My man. Get him! He was the reason Zito crashed the RV at MetLife. He was the reason a woman almost got killed at Yodel Boy's little shindig hit by a camel. And then last thing, poor Frank, a.k.a. Nick Moraldo, he's the reason that man broke his clavicle bone.
Foxy was there. Foxy was there.
It was.
All these terrible things, Foxy's the only person that has all of them in common. Oh, my
Straight up doom and gloom. Foxy, you might look good, but you're a jinx, cuz you're like...
Says a lot about you, Pat, because you're with him a lot.
I'm with him all the time. I have defeated the jinx. All right, so those are a lot of deep cuts for people that are new listeners. You got it. I mean, Gary's been with us for a long time. Gary, good guy up there in Connecticut, UPS driver. He's an Italian African-American man who called in basically every day whenever we're live on Sirius. We don't have as much time on the air, so he doesn't get on as much or call in as much. Electric individual, man. And Foxy, he's 100% right. Everything you seem to touch, except for anything that involves me, it kind of burns to the ground, doesn't it? The pub where he lives got evicted. Yeah. You're sitting shotgun of an RV. It almost takes down MetLife Stadium.
I mean, he left out Detroit, like the entire city of Detroit.
Foxy, this is tough.
I'm
dude.
speechless.
All right, let's go to James in Long Island, New York. What's up, James? Foxy, that's tough.
Patty Mack and the boys, the undisputed Electric Factory of content on radio. What it do, baby?
What it do, man?
What's going on? A couple things I want to talk to you about. The two kings of the Big Apple, Eli Manning retiring this week, Derek Jeter making the Hall of Fame. That one reporter that didn't let him in, don't know what the hell that guy's problem is. Also want to get your take on Matt Groening's Super Bowl prediction.
Okay, yeah, I saw that. He said the Niners win a Super Bowl in Miami on The Simpsons. By the way, shout out to Eli Manning, officially retired as of like 20 minutes ago. Congrats to him on having a very classy career in New York. Now, obviously, him moving from Chargers to New York, a lot of people still bring up to this day, which is wild. A lot of success there, a lot of wins, more than a lot of Hall of Famer wins, and he had to do it in New York City. Good for Eli Manning. Great career. Congrats on making the Hall of Fame, we could say.
Yeah.
Tom Brady even sent him out a congratulations. It said
along the lines of congratulations on your Hall of Fame career, Eli, but I wish that you didn't win 2 Super Bowls.
Because people forget that if it wasn't for Eli Manning and the New York Giants team, Tom Brady would have 8 Super Bowl rings now and would only need 2 more to cover every single finger that he has. And that is something that we should thank Eli Manning for, because not only are the Patriots fans tough to deal with already because they have had so much success. Imagine if they had 8, the most of all time, and they were looking to get 10 potentially. I mean, that would be tough to deal with. Eli Manning positive for that. Now, let's talk about the Groening prediction. For those of you that don't know, I made a video a couple years ago with Ty Schmidt, Evan Foxy, and a couple of the boys, Sean Latham. It was basically about all the Simpsons coincidences, whatever you call it, I don't know, about how many times they predicted the future. And that video that we put together has about 150 million views. It's been seen a lot. And I understand we're not the first people to say that the Simpsons predict stuff. We just so happen to gather all of them and put them into one place. And once you start stacking up 20 plus things that they've accurately predicted, at some point you got to be like, yo, Groening. Like, you have to know something. Everybody's like, well, if you make 100 jokes in 30 minutes, you're going to hit some every once in a while when you're on for 27 minutes. It's like, yeah, but whenever they're actually designing buildings that are going to be built in the background and calling out September 11th happening, basically, and all these other things, it makes you go, wait a damn minute. Is something going on in there with the guy Matt Groening? And then he made a show called Futurama. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff about Groening potentially being a time traveler, and it has been brought to my attention anytime they do anything or predict anything, I get tweeted about it because of how big the video was. No big deal. But a lot of things that have been tweeted me have been the Niners winning a Super Bowl in Miami was a part of a Simpsons episode, which means if we know anything about anything and if we stand for any of the research that we did, it stands to reason that the Niners are probably going to win this Super Bowl. And that is something that is disheartening for me because I've placed a lot of money on the Chiefs before those memes were sent to me. And I don't appreciate that one bit. Should we expect them to win because of Groening?
Can't go against the future, man. He knows.
He does know. It's bad.
Just to play devil's advocate, do we know that's Miami? Does it say anywhere on there?
Everybody that tweets me says
other than it's got palm trees in it?
Yeah. Well, because that could be a lot of places.
Could be Tampa, could be anywhere.
Do we know
California.
that's the 49ers?
I think they have palm trees in the desert, too. What's that?
Do we know that's the 49ers?
No, we don't, actually. You're right. My money's safe here. All right, let's get to Brandon in Cleveland, Ohio. Brandon, what's up?
Hey, gentlemen, what's going on down there in Indianapolis, Indiana?
Oh, this is the Steeler fan who lives in Cleveland.
Yes, sir.
Got it.
Hey, I just wanted to ask you a question. I know you mentioned about the Hall of Fame and some of these awards that aren't really worth anything, but let's be honest, inevitably you will make it to the Hall of Fame for your massive ability to kick balls. I just want to know how electric your speech is going to be, and will you wear a For the Brand shirt under that gold jacket?
I respect that question, Brandon. There is a chance that maybe I'll make it because the media aspect of what I get into, Like maybe I'll get into the NFL media, and then it'll become a time where they're like, oh, he also did this, changed this rule, this, and this. And then the media thing, maybe there'll be a chance. I know that if I do it, it won't be a 45-minute speech. I think that is the problem with the Hall of Fame. I respect listening to why the greats were great and all their apologies to their family and thanks to their friends and everything and their coaches. I respect and appreciate it. They need to put a time limit on it, I think. And they need to start playing the band music to get them off if they get too long. It's your day. The NFL wants to be nothing but respectful and thankful for them, so they won't ever say it. But I think there needs to be an initiative like, hey, 20 minutes is the max. That's a long speech.
Oh, yeah.
20 minutes is a long speech. Some of them go 35, 40 minutes. It's like, yo, we ain't got time. We ain't got time. My time probably never come, but if it does, just know it'll probably be 10, 15 minutes of electricity, and I'll thank everybody, including old Sally and Tim McAfee, for fornicating 9 months before May 2nd, 1987. Now, show is ending. It's been a great week. I can't thank you all enough for listening or watching wherever you may be. Shout out to the porn bots that took over our YouTube just a little bit ago. This has been the Pat McAfee Show from Indianapolis, Indiana!